Okay, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here attending this Solar Pakistan. Though I feel I'm a bit handicapped because I have not been able to participate in the previous session. So maybe I'm missing some of the important part, or maybe I'm repeating some of the points which have already been covered. But I'll try to be brief and covering the solar side in terms of AEDB role and in terms of Government of Pakistan policies. So this event is being held at a time when the renewable energy sector of Pakistan is undergoing a vital phase of transition. So this is a very opportune time actually to holding such a session. The main focus of Government of Pakistan is now to bring down the basket price so as to achieve sustainability and affordability, and thereby supporting the economic growth and of course the environmental friendly energy sources and the protection of the environment, green energy. That are the fundamentals of the government of policy. In this context, around 1900 megawatt of RE projects are already in operation, while another 1400 megawatt are under construction. So these includes all RE technologies which are currently being used in Pakistan. It's solar, it's wind, it's biomass in the case of bagasse also. So this is the general thing. And the government of Pakistan, as most of you know, that has set up a very ambitious target to increase the share of renewable energy in the overall generation capacity to 20% by 2025 and 30% by 2030. So this is a quite a challenging target. Looking at the fact that currently we only have about 5+% of RE energy in the grid, and we are gradually increasing the grid capacity also around 2,000 to 2,500 megawatt each year. So chasing this moving goal of 20% and 30% is a big target, but government is committed to achieve that, and for that government has basically given a lot of incentives. So Pakistan falls in the best solar zones of the world. The prices of solar energy have seen a steep decline in the past few years, owing to which the solar energy is now the cheapest source of power generation and the best suit is among all least cost generation globally. This is the main reason that utilization of indigenous renewable resources of power generation is the prime objective of the current government. Though I would like to add a bit of sort of caution here that our grid and national transmission grid and the distribution system is quite old and dilapidated. So there is a lot of investment which is needed to absorb the intermittency of the renewable and some peculiar features of the renewable energy, on which government also intend to work in an aggressive manner. In realization of this situation, AEDB, on direction of the government, has formulated in RE New Policy 2019, which has already been approved by the Council of Common Interest. And this policy fully supports the Pakistan transition toward the renewable energy and renewable resources of energy in an efficient and effective manner. The policy target I have already defined. So the main emphasis of the policy is to bring more and more capacity into the grid through the competitive bidding process. So the policy intends to do away with the upfront tariff process, with the cost plus tariff process, in order to make it more realistic and competitive in terms of pricing and economies. AEDB has also taken several initiatives in order to realize these targets. Solar resource mapping of the whole the country has already been completed with the support of World Bank. Installation of 9 solar stations all across the Pakistan at a key location has already been done. In the advancement of this RE energy implementation, a location study has recently been carried out by the World Bank to identify the most suitable sites, places for development of solar and wind projects, particularly in the context of grid connectivity. So since we have a very ambitious target, so the study has tried to break it down into the 3 phases. The first phase is up to 2023, and the second phase is the next 5 year and the next 5 year. The main idea behind breaking this into the short term and medium term target is that we will do more and more renewable energy projects where our grid has most capacity and where grid can absorb this intermittent and variable energy. Several solar projects initiated under the policy 2006 are operational and other are at different stages of their development. AEDB is actively facilitating the IPPs in development of timely completion of their solar projects. Recently, AEDB announced a financial closing for 4 solar PV projects of 250 megawatt cumulative capacity, as you might have read in the news about in the last month. AEDB has also prepared the RFP documents for carrying out first ever competitive bidding of residual solar power projects under RE Policy 2006 as per the policy provisions. The bidding process will be initiated once the quantum for the same is determined through the approval of the generation expansion plan. So one more thing I think which the government has actually taken a step towards right direction is development of a least cost generation expansion plan. So previously, as most of us know, that we have been moving in circles. So starting from mid 1980s, we move into the severe shortages, and then we bring in a policy and we try to get whatever we can get in the least possible time. So in that context, I would say that the prices are not optimum, technologies are not optimum, and fuels are not optimum. So our sole key criteria in getting those capacity additions are the timing, which becomes very critical for any sitting government when they are facing 12 to 18 hour load shedding even in the large cities of the country. So this is the time when we have breathing space. The country has sufficient capacity. Some people say that we have overcapacity, but I would say that we have sufficient capacity to plan properly and to think through what is our best energy mix and what we don't want to achieve in the energy sector in the next 10 to 15 years. So with that purpose in mind, an exercise has already started the development of generation expansion plan. With the first cut was prepared in 2019, the second cut was prepared in 2020, and hopefully by mid of this year we will have a final generation expansion plan approved by NEPRA by mid of this year. So that will actually give a boost to the proper planning and getting the environmental friendly and cheap energy for the grid. So this will also be the first step towards the competitive bidding process, because this generation expansion plan will actually give us how much quantum we need to get each year to keep the demand supply balance, and maybe some of the displacement or replacement of expensive thermal energy. So with the addition of the new capacity, the other area where now we are starting serious work in that how much of the thermal generation we can replace wherever it is economical through the renewable energy. In future, as I said earlier, the focus will be on the development of solar and wind hydropower projects. And now we are thinking in order to utilize the resources better, like transmission network, like land utilization. So we are planning to do the hybrid projects, the solar and wind combined. So our next bidding we are still working on it. So there's likelihood that next bidding would be for hybrid power projects with both solar and wind combined at the same site. So that will give us the benefit of increasing of the utilization of transmission infrastructures, and availability of these RE projects during 24 hours will increase. The CSP technology, which is actually a 24-hour supply backup with the thermal, the solar and wind backup with the thermal, that is also being considered and analyzed in the various areas, and probably the Balochistan is the best suited province for that, where we have huge potential for both wind and solar power projects. Apart from large-scale on-grid solar projects, AEDB and the government is also promoting and facilitating solar-based distribution generation and off-grid application. The net metering initiative is quite popular among the consumers, and AEDB has actively facilitating and promoting these installations. In order to promote a standard and the quality installations, the AEDB has listed and certified the vendors and installers. So their number is increasing as the number of the consumers who want to actually do the net metering is increasing. So currently, vendors installer list has reached 150 plus numbers compared to 27 only in the last year. So net metering installation has seen a sharp increase, with total number of installation reaching about 9,000, and with the capacity of around 150 megawatt as of end of February 2021. So this is the initiative which is gaining a lot of popularity, and on which the government will also want to move forward. Another initiative which has been approved by the government, and then the NAPRA has announced the wheeling policy. So that will also facilitate the more and more use of the RE generation, because if some company or some investor want to set up a RE project, maybe in Balochistan, Quetta, and want to supply to some other part of the country. So this wheeling arrangement will certainly help in opening up the market and creating more competition, and of course the bringing in more green energy to the grid. The government is also focusing on utilizing the available solar potential for providing electricity to off-grid areas all across the countries, with special emphasis on Balochistan. So remote area where which are thinly populated, or where the population is at a distance, they are best suited for off-grid solution. So Government of Pakistan and the Government of Balochistan, we are working combinedly through AEDB to develop some mini grids or standalone system for the off-grid areas. So those are also on the card. Several schemes are being designed in this regard. A program for conversion of grid-operated solar tube wells in Balochistan is also being finalized, which is around ready for submission to the government. So the plan is to convert the 50,000 solar tube wells in the Balochistan to the off-grid and the solar solution. So that will not only save electricity, but I think that will improve the situation of losses and recovery in that area also, because government is providing huge subsidies on these tube wells, and with these subsidies, the very little part which is to be paid by the consumer, that is not being collected. So it will work. It will benefit both way to the sector and the country. In this context, we are also working that how we can develop these solar tube well system with the help of the private sector, either through a public-private partnership scheme or through government providing some sort of subsidy or a viability gap funding in order to make them viable and make them attractive for the private sector. Similarly, solar energy holds very promising prospects in the future energy mix of Pakistan, and will definitely play an important role in achieving energy security and decreasing the basket tariffs of the consumer. So with gaining of the popularity of the net metering and standalone roof solar system, the solar energy and the solar system seems to be the future of power supply in the country. And the government fully recognizes this, and government is fully supporting this. With this, I again thank you, the organizers. This is a right time and a very good event actually to hold at this point in time. And I know fact also previously I have been participating in this various events. So this is a good effort, and it's the same thing I appreciate, and I thank for the participants for their patience listening. So if maybe we have time, I can take one or two questions if participants have some questions.
Thank you very much, Shahjahan Saab, for your time and your insightful comments. Some very exciting projects and initiatives which ADB is undertaking. We do have some questions. कुछ questions जो कि specifically are related to net metering. And I'll share the first question. This is it possible to make net metering requests using online requests and support mechanisms, or how can that be done? This is one of the questions. Perhaps if you would like, you can shed some light on this.
Yes, certainly we are working on that. Hopefully it will take some time because previously this initiative was done that the consumer could apply the distribution companies online, A system was also developed, but for some reason that was stalled because it was not working properly. So we are working on that system, and hopefully in next few months the system should be in place for this online application. Similarly, we are working on, as most of you might be knowing, that we are working on the simplification of the regulation for certification of these vendors and installers. So that would also be, even that I expect that it will be in place very soon. The online system may take some time because we have to do, in the government we have the limitations. We have to do a competitive bidding process for hiring of the consultant or the company who will be preparing and finalizing this online system. So that may take some time, but it is on the card and it will be done, inshallah.
Thank you, Mr. Shah, for this response. Adding a little bit, if you allow me, from my side, as Hadron Solar, one of the companies which is registered with ADB, and also as a member of the Pakistan Solar Association, we are seeing a lot of efforts and undertakings being done by ADB towards improving and simplifying. So in terms of the online, we are seeing some efforts. And there was a system, as Shah Sahab rightly said, there was a system, and now there is a new system which is coming up. And PSA is also involved in the development of this, and hopefully that will make things so much easier for our customers and the end users for net metering in Pakistan as well. So thank you so much for elaborating that. We will take one more question, which is relevant to your area. The question is that you mentioned a couple of targets during your talk, 20% and 30% of renewable energy. So the question which is asked is that, do these targets also include the power generated by individual households, or is this only related to the government IPP level production of energy? And if yes, do you have an idea of what percentage of this target is going to be from small residential systems, and what is going to be from the large scale utility scale projects?
If we look at the current policy, when they say the 20 and 30% targets, policy talks about the on-grid system. So this could be IPPs, and if we get into the broader system, even our net metering is the on-grid system, because at times of the day they might be supplying to the grid. So it includes both, I would say. But we need to look at it in more detail when we get into the generation expansion plan. That how much will be, what are the expectations, how much will be from these small consumers and the small quantities, and how much we'll be getting on the IPPs model from the large projects. But as I think as a common I would say that mostly it will be from obviously the large projects. But the smaller projects are like these net metering would also be part of the overall system, overall target.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this clear response. There is one more question. I think this will be the last question we will take for the event today, and then we'll close. Sir, if you allow me and you have some more time, we would like to take this one more question as well.
You please.
The question is that, is there any policy to address the payback rate regulation throughout Pakistan or on a provincial basis? So I believe they're referring to the payback rate of the net metering regime. So is there any policy or any plans to address the payback rate of for the net metering units which are exchanged on the Pakistan federal level or on the provincial level? Is there something happening on this area?
If I have understood your question correctly, basically currently it's net metering. So whatever is the purchase price at a certain hour, if this energy is supplied to the grid and the peak hours, which we have in large cities, the peak hours timing and peak hour metering system. So that is basically paid back in terms of the same rate. So if it is off peak hour, this is off peak, and where there's no off-peak and peak hour system or meters installed, it's a uniform rate. So this is basically actually trade-off units. So that is what is being done. So there is no actually purchase or selling price per se. So it's a trade-off of the units. If if the consumer supplies in the peak hours, they get the same rate which they get on which the supply they are getting, and vice versa. So did it answer your question, or there was some specific other
I think so. I mean, we got this question in written format, so I don't know if there is any clarity. I guess we will get a follow up, and if there is any required information, we might share it with you through your staff. At the moment, I believe the question is answered. So I would like to, as we have reached also the end of the time slot which we have booked with arranged. I would like to thank you, Mr. Shah, for your time and for your remarks. We really appreciate the encouragement which is being shown by yourself and other members of the government to the solar and renewable energy sectors, and also to exhibitions which are promoting these kind of things. And we do hope to continue to interact with you in future events as well, inshallah. Moving forward, I would like to thank all the other valued sponsors who joined us and who made this event possible, and all the attendees for sparing their precious time for the Solar Pakistan Virtual Conference. Please remember that you can subscribe to the FACT Exhibitions YouTube channel, fakt.tv, to view this recorded conference and more videos and information. You can also continue to visit the booths, which will be open till 5 p.m. today, and also tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for all the companies who presented. Trina Solar, Huawei Solar, SunGrow, Growwatt, Hadron Solar, which is our company, ERA, and all the others, as you can see on the entrance of the board. We wish you the best in the rest of the event. And this is Waqas Musa, CEO of Hadron Solar, signing off. And thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.